Madam Speaker, Fijians don't need to be reminded that climate change costs us dearly. T.C. Winston was a slap in our face that still stings. Some of us tragically lost loved ones, our houses, crops or livestock. Children lost days of school, and nearly everyone in the affected areas went days without electricity, transport or water supply. Winston has made it clear that we will need substantial additional financial resources to cope with the effects of and the need to adapt to climate change and natural disasters. Madam Speaker, while we are working towards this, we are also going to mobilize our domestic resources for climate adaptation measures and protecting our environment. In the new fiscal year, Madam Speaker, we intend to issue $100 million worth of green bonds for the first time as part of our total budget financing requirements. The bonds will be specifically targeted towards projects that qualify under green finance. The Ministry of Economy is working with the Reserve Bank of Fiji and the International Finance Corporation to launch these bonds with green bond certification before the COP23 meeting. That means, Madam Speaker, that the bonds will be certified by an international organization as supporting sustainable and environmentally responsible activity. There is a growing community of investors, Madam Speaker, worldwide who demand instruments that are socially responsible, and we want to attract them. And we will also invite our Pacific Island neighbors to participate in this program. Madam Speaker, we will remove the environmental levy and replace it with the Environment and Climate Adaptation Levy, or what is going to be called ECAL. ECAL will be set at 10%. And will also be applicable to individual taxpayers earning $270,000 and above, or those who pay the social responsibility levy. But in order to have a neutral tax effect to the current structure, we will reduce the service turnover tax from 10% to 6% and restructure the social responsibility tax to ensure that there is no additional tax burden. In the same vein, Madam Speaker, we will eliminate the 12.5% super yacht charter fee and replace it with a 10% ECAL. 2.5% lower, Madam Speaker. So the impact on the services sector, where the environmental levy and service turnover tax were applied, will be neutral. Madam Speaker, businesses investing in electric vehicle charging stations can qualify for the 7-year tax holidays with an investment of $500,000 instead of the current $3 million. And they can receive a 5% subsidy on the total investment. Madam Speaker, from 1st of August, government will impose a 10-cent tax on plastic bags at retail outlets that have point-of-sale registers. We want to discourage the proliferation of plastic bags which escape easily into the environment and end up in fields and along roads, roadsides, in waterways and in the ocean, where they are serious danger to marine life. They are a solid waste nightmare. Putting even a small price on bags will curtail this kind of destructive waste and force consumers and retailers alike to use only what they need, and that will benefit the environment. Consumers will be doing a service for the environment and avoiding this tax if they use their own bags. To complement this, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Women, through the Honourable Minister for Women, will work with the supermarkets so that our women and women groups can be engaged to make reusable bags and sell them at the supermarkets. These bags were on sale at the recent Women's Expo. This is a creative way to turn an environmental challenge into an economic opportunity. Madam Speaker, all the revenues collected from the ECAL will go into a trust fund to be used specifically for environmental and climate adaptation projects and to relevant ministries. And it is projected, Madam Speaker, that the total revenue from ECAL for the 2017-2018 period will be about $94 million. Madam Speaker, we will also on an annual basis report to our citizens and tourists alike on how this trust fund has been managed. Madam Speaker, we are establishing a new Ministry of Waterways, which will be responsible for dredging waterways, realigning drainage systems, managing riverbanks, mitigating flooding, and managing stormwater. The new ministry will also be responsible for coordinating smart agricultural irrigation schemes. Many of our waterways flood frequently, not just the river mouth, but upstream and beyond. This flooding inundates towns and makes roads and our highways impassable. We see floods as an act of God, but often they're the direct result of human activity and human negligence. Heavy silting is the result of decades of neglect, illegal developments, land degradation, and changing weather patterns. And we are experiencing excessive flooding because these waterways have not been dredged or maintained for years. The Land and Water Resource Management Division within the Ministry of Agriculture will now be transferred to this new ministry, and the Honourable Prime Minister will soon announce the appointment of the new minister. We'll also do away with the very cumbersome bureaucratic process of drainage boards. Madam Speaker, Government has allocated $24.2 million in this budget for the functioning of this ministry, and we're also having discussions with the Green Climate Fund, which is keen to provide funding. However, Madam Speaker, we need more than funding to fix our waterways. We also need technical expertise, and in this context, we've had discussions with the Global Green Growth Institute also. Madam Speaker, Government is also going to tackle head-on the issue of flooding in Nandi. Nandi is Fiji's gateway to the world. It is the fastest growing urban centre and soon to be declared a city, and flooding is a major problem. The feasibility study report on the Nandi River, sponsored by the Japanese government, estimates the cost at $385 million over a 3-year period to widen and rehabilitate the Nandi River, including building infrastructures like levees and 3 bridges. The design and environmental study needed to begin the project will commence shortly, and indeed the tender was advertised this Tuesday. Government has allocated $10 million for the study and has been working closely with the Asian Development Bank to access funding from the Green Climate Fund for this project. We also have to add, Madam Speaker, that the Japanese government has also offered us a soft loan for this project. Madam Speaker, we are now also going to merge the functions and the budgets of the National Disaster Management Office and the Department of Meteorological Services under a new ministry, the Ministry of Natural Disaster Management and Meteorological Services, with a total budget of $15.2 million. Madam Speaker, Government is also partnering with the Global Green Growth Institute to explore the options for transitioning the islands of Taveuni and Ovalau to electricity generation that is 100% renewable. The Korean International Cooperation Agency, KOICA, has shown interest to finance this project.